No One Lives Forever *, NALF, first released on PC in 2000 by Monolith Productions, is a beloved title in the world of first-person shooters, FPS, for its inventive gameplay, witty writing, and confident cinematic storytelling. A homage to the 1960s spy genre, the game was both a breath of fresh air for the FPS genre and a masterclass in blending humor with action. However, the PS2 port of *, No One Lives Forever *, released in April 2002, has often garnered a bad reputation due to technical shortcomings. Despite its flaws, the PS2 version still retains much of what made the original game so special, though it suffers in comparison to its PC counterpart.
Monolith Productions, known at the time for titles like Shogo, Mobile Armor Division and Blood, set out to create an FPS that was different from the gritty, dark, and overtly masculine shooters dominating the market. The development of No One Lives Forever began in the late 1990s, with the team taking inspiration from classic 1960s spy films like the James Bond series, as well as TV shows such as The Avengers. They crafted a vibrant, exaggerated world of espionage, blending action, stealth, and comedy. It was a sharp departure from the serious tone of other shooters like Half-Life, 1998, or Quake 2, 1997.
The game's development was marked by a few key moments. The decision to feature a female protagonist, Kate Archer, was a bold move in a genre that had historically been dominated by male leads. The writing team, led by Craig Hubbard, crafted a witty, charismatic character in Kate, who was a welcome change from the stoic heroes of other FPS games. The combination of high-quality storytelling and immersive gameplay made No One Lives Forever stand out, and it earned critical acclaim when it launched on PC in November 2000.
However, bringing such a unique game to consoles presented significant challenges. The PS2 version of No One Lives Forever, released in April 2002, was ported by an external team and was met with a more mixed reception, primarily due to technical limitations and control issues. While the game retained much of its charm, it couldn't fully capture the same experience that PC players had enjoyed.
No One Lives Forever holds a significant place in the history of FPS games, primarily because it dared to step away from the typical themes of its contemporaries. Most shooters of the late 1990s and early 2000s were heavily influenced by science fiction or military warfare, featuring grim, testosterone-fueled narratives. In contrast, No One Lives Forever was refreshingly lighthearted, with a strong emphasis on satire and comedic storytelling.
The game also introduced mechanics that were inventive for the genre at the time. It blended first-person shooting with stealth elements and included gadgets that added layers of strategy to the gameplay. Players were rewarded for approaching situations with cunning and creativity, rather than brute force. This added depth and variety to the gameplay, which was relatively rare in shooters of that era.
Furthermore, No One Lives Forever showed that FPS games could have strong storytelling. The plot, centered on Kate Archer's journey from a rookie spy to a seasoned agent, was filled with twists, memorable characters, and a healthy dose of humor. It demonstrated that first-person shooters didn't have to sacrifice narrative depth for action, influencing future FPS titles like BioShock and Half-Life 2 in terms of balancing gameplay with storytelling.
One of the standout features of No One Lives Forever is its confident cinematic storytelling. The game's narrative was driven by witty dialogue, larger-than-life characters, and an overarching plot that felt like a love letter to the spy genre. Kate Archer, voiced by actress Kit Harris, brought charm, wit, and vulnerability to the role, making her one of the most memorable protagonists of the era.
The writing, led by Craig Hubbard, was consistently sharp and funny. The script didn't just use humor as a side element, it was woven into the fabric of the game. Whether it was the campy villainy of the game's antagonists or the humorous exchanges between Kate and her allies, the tone was always playful but never detracted from the tension of the missions.
Cutscenes were well directed and cinematic, adding to the sense that you were part of an interactive spy movie. These scenes were essential in creating the feeling that No One Lives Forever was more than just an action game. It was an experience driven by character and story. This level of cinematic flair was unusual in FPS games at the time, and it helped No One Lives Forever stand out.
Another reason No One Lives Forever earned its place in gaming history is its inventive gameplay. The game offered a variety of ways to approach missions, allowing players to use stealth, action, or gadgets to achieve their goals. Gadgets were one of the game's most memorable features, with everything from lipstick explosives to robotic poodles at your disposal. These tools, along with the game's level design, encouraged experimentation and creative problem solving.
The game was structured across multiple missions, each with different objectives, such as assassination, rescue, or espionage. The levels were sprawling and well designed, often giving players multiple ways to achieve their objectives. This variety in mission structure and gameplay ensured that the experience never felt repetitive, keeping players engaged throughout the game's lengthy campaign.
Even the AI was ahead of its time. Enemies didn't just rush blindly at the player. They often took cover, coordinated with one another, and reacted to the player's tactics. This made firefights feel more dynamic and challenging.
The PS2 port of No One Lives Forever has developed a reputation for being inferior to the PC version, and in many ways, this criticism is warranted. The PS2 version suffers from noticeable technical shortcomings, such as frame rate drops, longer load times, and less precise controls. These issues are particularly frustrating given how fluid and polished the PC version was.
One of the biggest drawbacks of the PS2 version is the control scheme. The PS2's dual analog sticks were never quite as responsive or accurate as a mouse and keyboard setup, making aiming and shooting feel less precise. In a genre that relies on accuracy, this was a significant downgrade for the experience.
Visually, the PS2 version also took a hit. The graphical fidelity was reduced to fit the hardware limitations of the console, resulting in muddier textures and less detailed environments. Additionally, the lighting and particle effects, which added so much atmosphere to the PC version, were noticeably less impressive on the PS2.
However, despite these flaws, the PS2 version remains playable, and for those who don't have access to the PC version, it's still a worthwhile experience. One of the advantages of the PS2 port is that it includes some exclusive content, such as an additional mission and new cutscenes. These extra features do provide some incentive for die-hard fans of the game to check out the PS2 version, even if it is not the optimal way to experience No One Lives Forever.
No One Lives Forever for the PS2 is far from being the definitive version of the game, but it still offers a glimpse into why the original is considered a classic. Its inventive gameplay, confident cinematic storytelling, and sharp writing make it a standout title in the FPS genre. While the PS2 port suffers from technical limitations, it remains playable and even offers some exclusive features that make it worth revisiting for fans of the original.
At its core, No One Lives Forever is a game that deserves to be remembered not just for its humor and charm, but for its contribution to the evolution of the FPS genre. It pushed boundaries by showing that shooters could be clever, funny, and narratively rich, without sacrificing the action that fans craved. For those willing to overlook the technical issues, the PS2 version still captures much of what made No One Lives Forever such a groundbreaking title in its time.
Please don't think that I enjoyed saying those things to you. Even though the words were not mine, I am so disgusted with myself that I must return home and wash myself with soap.
Don't worry about it.
You are a kind young woman. I wish you luck.
The entrance is hidden in the basement of the